Welcome to the Morning Walk with Murty Digital Stroll. Today, we really need to talk about probably the most dangerous habit you have.
Oh, absolutely. It's something you do, 50 times a day?
Yeah, easily, without even thinking about it. And it is basically handing these massive tech companies the master key to your digital life because, well, you are almost certainly still using your device's default web browser.
It's a massive blind spot for most people, honestly.
It really is. So I'm stepping into my role today as the mentor of the Antaryami VA Academy. I'll be acting as your wisdom seeker for this Gurukul session. And joining me, as always, is the architect of Antaryami, who is putting on their strategic auditor hat to guide this digital migration for us.
It is fantastic to be walking alongside you. In Project Antaryami, we constantly talk about looking at our tools through the Digital Prism, right?
Right.
So our mission today, it isn't just to summarize an article or give you a tech review. We are here to extract the legacy code of our daily digital habits. We're going to be analyzing this fascinating piece by Jack Wallen from ZDNet. And, I think it's going to challenge the fundamental assumptions you make every single time you open a laptop or unlock a phone.
Yeah, so let's jump right into this whole trap of the default browser.
Yeah.
Because Wallen, he reviews nearly every major browser out there, gives us his top 4, and, spoiler alert here, Google Chrome and Apple Safari, they do not make the list.
No, they definitely do not.
Right. So as our strategic auditor, explain to me why accepting the default is such a critical error. What is actually happening when I just use the browser that, came out of the box?
Well, think about what a browser actually is. It is not just a simple application.
No, it's everything.
Exactly. It's your primary gateway to the entire digital world. So when you passively accept the default options, say Chrome on a Chromebook or Safari on a Mac, you are basically letting the hardware manufacturer dictate the parameters of your digital environment.
Wow. Yeah, I guess that's true.
And those default browsers, they are fundamentally designed to integrate you into their specific ecosystems. They often prioritize data collection or, ecosystem lock-in way over your individual efficiency or privacy.
Right, because if I'm using Chrome, it is inherently tied to my Google account. So it's syncing my searches, my location data, and my reading habits directly to the world's largest advertising broker.
Exactly that. So auditing this choice, really interrogating the tool you use to access the sum of human knowledge, that is the absolute first step in any successful digital migration.
You have to take control of the gateway.
You have to. If you don't, you are building your digital house on land owned by a data broker.
Oh, that's a great way to put it. Okay, so I want to bring this right down to the listener's immediate reality. Think about your own computer right now. How many tabs do you have open at the top of your screen?
Oh boy, probably too many.
Right. If you are like most of us, it is a tiny, unreadable sliver of text. Your computer's fans might be spinning like a jet engine. We are constantly overwhelmed just trying to tame the tabs. So let's look at the first alternative big. Wallen suggests to fix this chaos, which is Opera.
Yeah, Opera. It's fascinating because it's a bit of a veteran workhorse. Wallen notes it has been his go-to browser on Linux for years, actually, and remains his primary choice on macOS.
Okay, so why did you migrate to it?
Well, it all boils down to one critical mechanism, which is Workspaces.
Workspaces. Okay, break down how this actually functions for me, because, tab groups aren't exactly a new concept.
Right, they aren't. But Opera's implementation fundamentally changes how your computer and, honestly, how your brain handles information.
Okay, how so?
So instead of 60 tabs crammed into one horizontal row, just dragging your system's RAM down to a crawl, Opera lets you categorize tabs into distinct, isolated workspaces.
Oh, so they aren't all visible at once.
Exactly. You click an icon on a sidebar for, say, work, and all your social media and shopping tabs disappear. They're replaced only by your project documents.
I see this perfectly through the lens of a Gurukul, a dedicated space for learning. If you have all your tabs in one window, it is the equivalent of everyone standing around shouting in one giant, chaotic courtyard.
It really is.
You're trying to read a research paper, but the shopping cart tab is glaring at you, and your email tab has that little notification dot just screaming for attention.
It creates an immense cognitive load.
Right. So Opera's workspaces act like physical rooms in the Gurukul. You walk into the workroom, and only the tools for work exist in that space.
But wait, you said it also helps the computer's memory. How does sorting tabs visually stop my laptop from sounding like it's preparing for takeoff? Well, because it's not just a visual trick. Browsers like Chrome treat almost every open tab as an active memory-hungry process.
Oh, so they're all running in the background constantly.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
By compartmentalizing tasks, a well-optimized browser can put inactive workspaces into a deeper sleep state. That frees up your system's resources. But Opera isn't just optimizing memory. It had a very robust infrastructure under the hood that we probably need to unpack.
Yeah, Wallen mentions forced HTTPS, secure DNS, and V8 security. But honestly, as a wisdom seeker, that just sounds like alphabet soup to me.
There's a bit, yeah.
Can you translate that? How do these features actually protect a user on a daily stroll?
Let's take them one by one. So forced HTTPS absolutely means Opera refuses to connect to the old, unencrypted versions of websites. It forces a secure tunnel.
Okay, that makes sense. And secure DNS?
Secure DNS is a bit more complex. When you type in a website name, your computer uses a domain name system, a DNS, which is essentially the internet's phone book, to look up the site's IP address.
Okay, so it's finding the numerical address so the computer knows where to actually go?
Precisely. But normally, that phone book lookup is public. Your internet service provider can see every single number you look up.
Which is kind of creepy.
Very.
Huh.
So secure DNS encrypts that lookup request. Your provider doesn't know you are asking for directions to a specific site.
Oh, I like that. Hiding the request itself, not just the connection. And what about V8 security? What is that?
So V8 is the engine that runs JavaScript. That's the code that makes websites interactive. When you visit a compromised site that tries to run a malicious script in the background, V8 security acts like a quarantine zone.
Like a sandbox.
Exactly, a digital sandbox.
Yeah.
It traps that script in there so it cannot escape into your actual computer files. And when you combine that with Opera's built-in VPN, you're getting an enterprise-grade security suite right out of the box.
Okay, but hold on. Let me push back here for a second. Opera also includes a built-in AI tool called Aria.
Yes, it does.
Now, I just talked about using Workspaces to create a quiet, focused Gurukul room. Throwing an AI chatbot into the sidebar feels contradictory. Isn't this just putting a loudspeaker in our quiet room?
That is a highly critical point. And it really highlights the tension in all modern digital tools.
Like, are we trading the distraction of a shopping tab for the distraction of an AI assistant asking if we want help summarizing an article we should just be reading ourselves?
From the perspective of a strategic auditor, an integrated AI like Aria is absolutely a double-edged sword. Wallen clearly values it, but it requires extreme intentionality.
So what does intentionality look like in practice here?
It means treating the AI as an on-demand tool, not a passive companion. If you are doing deep, complex research, an integrated AI can instantly translate a dense paragraph or pull up related statistics without you having to open a new search tab and lose your context.
So it keeps you in the workflow.
Right. But you are entirely correct about the risk. If you lack the discipline to use it purposefully, it becomes just another source of noise. The key to your legacy code is that you use the tool itself. You do not let the tool interrupt you.
Okay, so intentionality is the filter, I get that. But let's pivot, because if Opera is this massive, feature-rich suite with built-in AI and VPNs and workspaces, what if I don't want all that weight?
Right, you want something leaner.
Exactly. What if I want something highly customized? Wallen's second choice feels like the answer to that, right? The Zen browser.
Oh, Zen browser is a fascinating shift in philosophy.
Yeah.
Wallen actually calls it the browser that Firefox should have been all along. It has become his default on Linux recently.
I was really intrigued by Zen because it seems to look at what Opera does, right? The workspace management, and it pairs it with this Arc-style tab management. But for a listener who hasn't used Arc, what does that actually look like, and why is it better than what we are used to?
Well, Arc popularized the idea of vertical tab management. Instead of having tabs squeezed horizontally across the top of your screen, where the titles eventually just disappear into tiny little icons, Zen puts your tabs in a vertical column on the side.
Which makes sense, because modern screens are so wide, so we have plenty of horizontal real estate to spare, but vertical space is precious when reading an article.
Exactly. It uses the screen geometry to its advantage. You can actually read the titles of 50 open tabs when they're stacked in a list. But Zen doesn't just change the layout. It is built entirely on the Firefox foundation.
And why does that matter? Why is being built on Firefox a selling point for digital migration?
It's all about the rendering engine. The vast majority of browsers today, Chrome, Edge, Brave, Vivaldi, they're all built on Chromium, which is Google's open source project.
So Google basically runs the table.
Exactly. If everyone uses Chromium, Google effectively dictates web standards. Firefox uses a completely independent engine. So by choosing Zen, you are actively supporting a decentralized web, ensuring one single company doesn't control how the internet is built.
Now, that is a powerful piece of legacy code to consider. We aren't just choosing a tool, we are choosing the architecture of the web itself. But the feature in Zen that really caught my eye is something called mods.
Yes, the mods are great.
The article says Zen avoids bloated third-party extensions in favor of these community-developed mods. What is the actual mechanical difference? Because to me, a mod and an extension sound like the exact same thing.
It is a crucial distinction, actually. Think of a standard browser extension like an attachment you bolt onto the outside of a car.
Okay.
It might give you a new feature, but it creates drag, it slows the car down, and it constantly has to communicate with the main engine.
So like an ad blocker extension is constantly running its own separate processes, eating up memory.
Right. Zen's mods, however, alter the actual CSS and code of the browser itself. You are popping the hood and tweaking the car's internal computer. Yeah, they change the behavior and appearance of the browser at a fundamental level without running heavy parallel processes.
Yeah.
It gives you absolute granular control over your interface while remaining incredibly lightweight and fast.
I love that. You are modifying the architecture, not just bolting things onto the walls. Okay, so we've built this beautifully organized, highly efficient workspace in Opera or Zen. I have my vertical tabs, my mods are running flawlessly.
Sounds perfect.
Right, but as I'm putting all my work documents in one workspace and my personal banking in another, a thought hits me. I have organized my data perfectly for myself, but haven't I also just organized it perfectly for anyone trying to steal it?
Yes.
Like, what good is an organized digital room if the walls are made of glass?
That is the exact pivot we need to make here. Organization without security is just a well-curated display window for data brokers and bad actors. When we talk about fundamentally protecting the data and securing the environment, Wallen points us to a tool that operates on an entirely different plane of existence, the Tor browser.
Tor. Yeah, I call this one the ultimate vault. Wallen is very explicit here. When he needs serious security, Tor is the only browser he even considers. But Tor is famous for being incredibly slow. Why? What is it actually doing to our connection?
Well, to understand Tor, we need to understand how standard traffic works first. Usually, your computer connects directly to a website server. It is a straight line.
Right?
And anyone watching the line, your internet provider, a hacker on your coffee shop Wi-Fi, they can see exactly where you are going.
Yeah.
Tor destroys that straight line through a process called onion routing.
Onion routing. I'm assuming that means layers.
Precisely. Imagine you want to send a letter, but you don't want anyone to know who it is from or where it is going. Using Tor is like putting your letter inside a locked box, putting that box inside a second locked box, and putting that inside a third locked box.
Okay, I am tracking. 3 layers of encryption.
You hand the 3-layered box to the first node in the Tor network, which is just a volunteer server somewhere in the world. That server only has the key to unlock the outermost box.
Caught it.
It opens it and finds instructions to send the inner boxes to a second server. The second server only has the key to the middle box, which tells it to send the final box to a third server.
Wow.
And by the time the third server opens the final box and delivers the data to the website, it has absolutely no idea where the data originally came from.
That is incredible. No single postman on that route knows both where the letter started and where it's ultimately going. That is brilliant.
It is brilliant brute force privacy. But, as you mentioned, it comes with massive trade-offs.
Right, because bouncing a signal through 3 randomized global servers is going to take time. It is the classic security versus convenience dilemma. Wallen admits the performance takes a noticeable, sometimes frustrating hit. Plus, some websites will just outright block you if they detect you are using a Tor exit node, won't they?
Yes, many commercial sites view Tor traffic with deep suspicion because it is, by design, inherently untraceable.
So here's my question for you, as the auditor. For the everyday learner, someone just taking their daily digital stroll, doing research, checking the news, is Tor genuinely necessary? Because honestly, this sounds like choosing to commute to the grocery store in a tank.
A tank?
Yeah, like, yes, you are perfectly safe, but you're moving at 10 miles an hour, you can't park, and the store manager might not let you inside.
That is a very fair assessment. To answer directly, Tor is a highly specialized tool. It is not designed to be the browser you use to watch YouTube or scroll social media.
Good to know.
But as part of your digital literacy, knowing how to drive that tank is crucial. When you are handling highly sensitive research, dealing with confidential financial data, or perhaps communicating in a region with heavy internet censorship, A slower browser is a price you should be absolutely willing to pay.
Okay, so Tor is the specialized vault. We don't live in it, but we use it when it matters. But what if I want a middle ground?
A middle ground.
Yeah, what if I want intense, aggressive privacy, but I don't want the extreme slowdown of Tor, and I actually want my browser to look beautiful? This brings us to the fourth path, which Wallen highlights, which is FireDragon.
Ooh, FireDragon.
Yeah.
It is arguably the most fascinating study in open source evolution on this list.
Yeah.
But I have to warn you, it is very niche.
Well, let's get into the technical lineage here, because it is quite a family tree. Wallen explains FireDragon was originally based on LibreWolf, then it switched to being based on Florp, and Florp itself is based on Firefox.
Right.
Underneath it all, FireDragon utilizes the Gecko rendering engine and the SpiderMonkey JavaScript engine. Okay, hold on. We talked about Chromium and Firefox earlier, but what on earth is a Gecko rendering engine, and why should I care if it has a SpiderMonkey attached to it?
I know. Open source naming conventions can be a bit wild.
Yeah.
Think of it this way. When your browser downloads the raw HTML and CSS code of a website, it is just receiving text. The rendering engine, in this case, Gecko, is the digital construction crew. It takes that raw text blueprint and actually builds the visible buttons, images, and text on your screen.
Okay, so Gecko is the crew building the visual house, and SpiderMonkey.
SpiderMonkey is the electrical system. It is the engine that processes all the complex, interactive JavaScript, the code that makes menus pop out or allows a video player to function.
Got it. So FireDragon is taking the very best construction crew and electrical system from Firefox, but it is wrapping it in an entirely different interface.
Exactly. It marries the robust power of Firefox with the organizational interface of Opera. It features the Workspaces for tab management, but it bakes in incredibly aggressive default privacy measures that Opera just doesn't have.
Let's talk about those defaults. Right out of the box, FireDragon uses the Searx search engine instead of Google. I know a bit about Searx. It's a decentralized, open-source search engine. It doesn't track you. It aggregates results from multiple sources, and you can even self-host it on your own server if you are truly dedicated.
It's fantastic for privacy.
Right. Plus, FireDragon uses the Dark Reader extension by default, which forces a dark mode onto every single website, tying perfectly into its very specific aesthetic.
And that aesthetic is a major selling point. Wallen describes it as having DR469ized fitting aesthetics. It is visually designed to match the Gurukul Linux operating system. It features these neon colors and a heavily stylized, almost cyberpunk dark theme.
And this is but this beautiful privacy-first, highly organized hybrid comes with a major catch.
Yes, it does.
It is strictly for Linux users, and if you read the installation instructions Wallen provides, it sounds like absolute alien syntax to a Windows or Mac user.
Very intimidating.
He says you can install it via the Arch AUR repository, as an app image via FlatHub, or as a binary tarball. Okay, strategic auditor, translate that. What is a binary tarball? Are we paving a road?
I promise it makes sense in the Linux world. So in Windows, you just download an .exe file and double-click it. Linux gives you way more granular control.
Okay, how so?
Well, an app image is basically a portable toolbox. All the files the app needs are self-contained in one file, so it doesn't mess with your core system files. The AUR repository is a massive, community-driven library where your system automatically downloads and compiles the code for you.
And the tarball.
And a binary tarball.
Right.
Well, think of a tar file like a digital zip file. It is a compressed archive of the raw code.
Yeah.
You unpack it and you run it directly.
Okay, so it's just different methods of delivering the software, ranging from a prepackaged toolbox to a box of raw materials.
Right.
But the point is, if you are on Windows or Mac OS, you cannot use FireDragon. You are locked out.
You are. And honestly, that exclusivity is actually what makes it so powerful.
Really?
Yeah. The developers of FireDragon didn't try to compromise their vision to make it work on Apple or Microsoft systems. They built a hyper-optimized, uncompromising tool for a specific type of Linux user who wants the exact intersection of Firefox power, Opera organization, and absolute privacy. It is the ultimate example of bespoke legacy code.
So, synthesizing everything we've uncovered in this Gurukul session today, we have explored 4 very distinct philosophies for our digital migration away from the defaults. We have Opera, providing that robust, all-around performance with game-changing workspaces, forcing us to think about intentional AI use.
Yep.
We have Zen, the agile innovator that gives us vertical tabs and customized architecture through mods. We have Tor, the hidden 3-layered vault for absolute encrypted security when it truly matters. And we have FireDragon, the stunning privacy-first hybrid built without compromise for the Linux ecosystem.
What ties all of these together is intentionality. As a learner, the tool you use to gather knowledge fundamentally dictates the quality of your focus and the safety of your data.
Absolutely.
Escaping the default browser is about refusing to be passively monetized by a device manufacturer. It is about actively auditing your own needs. Like, do you suffer from cognitive overload and need strict tab management? Do you require an untraceable connection for sensitive research? The browser you choose dictates the parameters of your digital reality.
You cannot just accept the default chaotic courtyard. You have to build the Gurukul that suits your discipline. You have to take control of the gateway.
Precisely. The legacy code of your digital life begins with the software that renders it.
I want to leave you, the listener, with a lingering thought as we wrap up today's journey. We have spent this time discussing how to choose a better tool. But if the browser truly is the digital prism through which you experience the entirety of the internet, I want you to ask yourself, how has passively accepting that default tool for the last 5 or 10 years subtly shaped the way you consume information?
That is the question.
How has an interface designed for data extraction quietly influenced the legacy code you leave behind every single day?
It's definitely something to think about on your own stroll.
For sure. Thank you so much for joining us for this Gurukul session on the Morning Walk with Murty. Keep questioning the defaults, keep auditing your environment, and we will see you on the next stroll.